I only have one message to give you. I don't care what you think of me. I don't care what you call me. I do care what you do with this information because it is important to our survival as a species.
Hey guys, wanted to make this video real quick. Alright, so this is an article that you're probably not going to see published in most mainstream sources. It's the Ninth Circuit ends California ban on high-capacity magazines. Came out today. Three-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has thrown out California's ban on high-capacity ammunition magazines. The panel's majority ruled Friday that the law banning magazines holding more than 10 bullets violates the constitutional right to bear firearms. California Rifle and Pistol Association attorney Chuck McKell calls it a huge victory. The ruling has national implications because other states have similar restrictions. Think Massachusetts, Maryland, New Jersey. California Attorney General Xavier Becerra did not immediately say if he would ask for a full court review or appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. He also did not say if the state would seek a delay to prevent a buying spree. Now, the reason this is important, guys, is because this got overturned, I think that they're going to try to bury it, or if they don't bury it, they're going to try to use some type of false flag as a way to justify the reasoning for the ban in the first place. They're going to say, oh, because this was overturned, we're now seeing people who have access to these magazines who didn't before are now going out and committing mass shootings, and it's easier because they now have access to these magazines. You're probably going to start seeing things like that. And I did just read this the other day. I'm not saying that's what this is, but if you didn't see this, it says Air Force helicopter shot while flying over Virginia. Crew member injured. So essentially a soldier was shot in the hand as it flew over conducting a training mission. It says the FBI is investigating the incident. The Air Force later said it was 10 miles northwest of the airport near Middleburg, Virginia, at an altitude of 1,000 feet when it was shot. They had to make an emergency landing. They haven't really released more information about it, but it could be real, it could be fake, it could be one of those things they're going to use to push the narrative of terrorists, domestic terrorists, taking it upon themselves because they're frustrated with lockdowns, they're frustrated with all this other stuff. And the overturning of this, I think, is going to be the catalyst for things we're going to probably start seeing. And this is a report from the New American. It says DHS labels liberty lovers as potential terrorists. WorldNetDaily.com reports the study and related data were recently produced by the National Consortium for the Study of Terrorism and Responses to Terrorism, or START, at the University of Maryland. It was launched with a $12 million grant from DHS and is recognized by the organization as one of its centers for excellence. And then in December, they announced they were renewing it and funding another $3.6 million. This right here is the actual document that they just cited from start.umd.edu's own website. And we get in here, find the definition of right wing. Let me see what they got in there. Hold on one sec. Alright, this is what they define as right wing. They're groups that believe that one's personal and or national way of life is under attack and is either already lost or that the threat is imminent. For some, the threat is from a specific ethnic, racial, or religious group and believe in the need to be prepared for an attack, either by participating in paramilitary operations and training or survivalism. Groups may also be fiercely nationalistic as opposed to universal and international in orientation, anti-global, suspicious of centralized federal authority, reverent of individual liberty, and believe in conspiracy theories that involve grave threat to national sovereignty and or personal liberty. So if you believe in personal freedom and liberty, and believe in any conspiracy at all or anything that goes against the mainstream narrative, and you're against government having too much power, you're a terrorist, and you're labeled right-wing. I'm not right-wing or left-wing. I transcend that paradigm. I'm out of it. I'm apolitical. I believe in freedom, and I believe, in just, non-authoritarianism. I don't believe in tyranny. I don't believe in, the collective. I believe in individual rights. But if you're left wing, they also got you covered too, because they want to divide everyone and then give them a label. So groups that want to bring about change through violent revolution rather than through established political processes, left wing they define as rely on terrorism to overthrow the capitalist system and either establish a dictatorship of the proletariat, Marxist-Leninists, or much more rarely a decentralized, non-hierarchical political system anarchist. So if you're an anarchist, if you believe in no centralization of power, which really is a good thing, you're a terrorist, and they associate it with the left. And then also they go into religious and a couple other things, Essentially, if you believe anything that's against the mainstream narrative touted by them on their, bought and paid for media and everything else, you're a terrorist. And also, here is an unclassified report from Homeland Security themselves. Check it out. This product is one of a series of intelligence assessments published by the Extremism and Radicalization Branch to facilitate a greater understanding of the phenomenon of violent radicalization in the United States. The information is provided to federal, state, local, and tribal counterterrorism and law enforcement officials, so they may effectively deter, prevent, preempt, or respond to terrorist attacks against the United States. Federal efforts to influence domestic public opinions must be conducted in an overt and transparent manner. Read that again. Federal efforts to influence domestic public opinion must be conducted in an overt and transparent manner, clearly identifying United States government sponsorship. Psychological operations, hearts and minds, they have to influence domestic public opinion because that's who they're trying to subvert, dominate, and control. All right? And if you believe that, you're a terrorist. But they say it. But if you believe it, you're a terrorist. The DHS Office of Intelligence and Analysis has no specific information that domestic right-wing terrorists are currently planning acts of violence, but right-wing extremists may be gaining new recruits by playing on their fears about several emergent issues. The economic downturn and the election of the first African-American president present unique drivers for right-wing radicalization and recruitment. Threats from white supremacists and violent anti-government groups during 2009 have been largely rhetorical and have not indicated plans to carry out violent acts. Nevertheless, the consequences of a prolonged economic downturn, including real estate foreclosures, unemployment, and an inability to obtain credit, could create a fertile recruiting environment for right-wing extremists and even result in confrontations between such groups and government authorities similar to those in the past. Right-wing extremists have capitalized on the election of the first black president and are focusing their efforts to recruit new members, mobilizing existing supporters, and broaden their scope and appeal. So all this is based off nothing. They said they have no evidence to even believe this is going on, but yet that's what they're saying. Let's see. The possible passage of new restrictions on firearms and the return of military veterans facing significant challenges reintegrating into their communities could lead to a potential emergence of terrorist groups or lone wolf extremists capable of carrying out violent attacks. Did you just hear what I said? If you're a returning veteran or you believe in your right to carry firearms, you are a terrorist or a possible terrorist, according to the Department of Homeland Security. If you took an oath to protect this country against enemies, foreign and domestic, like Department of Homeland Security is a domestic terrorist organization, you are considered a terrorist. And they're going to say everything they can to smear you. I'm telling you guys, this right here, them overturning this ban on magazines, holding more than 10 rounds is going to be the catalyst. You're going to start seeing situations like this where they're going to say people, right-wing extremists, what have you, white nationalists, Nazis, whatever, are shooting troops and vehicles and whatever. They're going to use it as a way to justify more troops on the street. They're using the protests to do that. They're using the lockdowns to do that for George Floyd protests specifically. And the Black Lives Matter. They're doing all that. They're doing everything they can to establish pretext to put troops on the street. Why? Because they want to give you a vaccination, which probably has a chip in it, and Trump already said he wants to use the military to do it. Operation Warp Speed. Look it up if you haven't heard of it. I'm telling you guys, you're going to start seeing it. And if you start seeing it in the next couple months, just know that this right here, them overturning this ban, probably had something to do with it. They're going to say, oh, look, we overturned it, and see what happened? See what happens when we give people freedom? Bad things happen. And the media, which is bought and paid for, is going to just toe the line. And it's us versus them, guys. Flat out what it comes down to. I mean, proposed impositions of firearms restrictions and weapons bans likely would attract new members into the ranks of right-wing extremist groups, as well as potentially spur some of them to begin planning and training for violence against the government. The high volume of purchases and stockpiling of weapons and ammunition by right-wing extremists in anticipation of restrictions and bans in some parts of the country continue to be a primary concern to law enforcement. Returning veterans possess combat skills and experience that are attractive to right-wing extremists. DHS is concerned that right-wing extremists will attempt to recruit and radicalize returning veterans in order to boost their violent capabilities. Guys, I was a scout and then I went infantry. Essentially the same thing. I deployed to Afghanistan in 2011. All right, I was in a highly kinetic area. I was in the Coast Province on Fob Salerno, if you know where that is, nicknamed Rocket City. Spent the other half of my deployment in Kabul at the capital. I've seen things, I've done things, I've heard things. I can tell you personally, the way you think the world works and how it actually works are two totally different things. What they do over there and what they tell you they do over there are two totally different things. Because I come back having that knowledge of how the world works, and because they gave me a gun and said, hey, this guy's bad, kill him. We changed our mind. Now this guy's bad, go kill them. You know what, this guy's wearing this outfit, go kill them. That's literally as arbitrary as it is. They point, designate, say that's an enemy, tell you to destroy the enemy. They don't want you to think for yourself or question the orders you're given. They want you to just follow orders. I'm not a violent guy. I pose no threat. I want to spread information and I want to wake people up. But because I'm a returning veteran and I believe in personal freedom, I'm considered a terrorist by the very government that I swore an oath to protect? No, that's not going to sit with me at all. Fuck you. You can eat my shit. And anyone like me needs to realize that these people, they don't care about you. If they consider everyday Americans who are willing to fight for their country, and yes, I realize that I was a pawn. I realize that all it was and all the military is the military wing of the New World Order. I know all I did over there was hurt people, and believe me, it's my own thing I deal with, all right? But I know I was a pawn, and everything over there woke me up even more than I ever was before in my life. What you're told and what actually goes on are two totally different things, guys. And our own government considers most of us terrorists. And because of this being overturned, you're probably going to start seeing more instances, so look out for that propaganda. I'm telling you. By the end of the year, I guarantee you're going to see some sort of mass shooting, probably in the next couple of weeks, but by the end of the year, you're going to see something big, and they're going to blame it on Americans or terrorists, whatever. But I'm telling you guys, and don't get on that bus. Don't go to that camp. Whatever reason they use, quarantine, terrorism, whatever, just don't go. These people don't care about you. These people have your interests not even on the back burner. So look this up yourself if you don't believe me. Right-wing extremism, current economic and political climate fueling resurgence and radicalization and recruitment. Rolls off the tongue. I know. Type that into Google, pull the PDF up, read it yourself. The government considers you a terrorist, considers me a terrorist for telling you this. All right? At what point do we draw the line and say, enough is enough? All right? Just because I believe in freedom and my own rights and the rights of others and defending it, I'm a terrorist? Go fuck yourself. You're the terrorist.